Hey guys, so yeah, I got a bit of wrestling news to talk about. First of all, we're going to start off the wrestling news for today with a bit of an update to the whole Charlotte Flair WWE Becky Lynch ordeal that's been going down. Just like a lot of people have talked about, and even I've talked about last night, which premiered this morning. Basically, long story short is, Charlotte is in a situation to where nobody, obviously, no woman anyway, wants to work with her right now, due to the way she's been acting and everything like that, and it's just a bad situation. It's gotten to the point that now reports are saying that she doesn't just have backstage heat, period. Like regular backstage heat that could probably cool off or anything. According to numerous reports, she has nuclear heat. Like basically. What they say Tessa Blanchard has when it comes to wrestling and, with certain women and all that. Charlotte basically has the same kind of heat. She has nuclear heat. And this is not a good sign for WWE. Because, they're stuck in a pickle. Fox, like I said in the video yesterday, and everybody else has reported this and talked about it, Fox is the one that wanted Charlotte on SmackDown. They wanted her there. WWE, of course, is paying her a lot of money. Is basically, promoting her, as the face of the division. And, so they're stuck in a situation right now to where it's like, all they can really do, honestly, is hope for her to do something that will justify them and Fox to say, yeah, we got to get rid of this woman. We got to get her out of the picture. And that'd be potentially the only way they can do something. I don't know what's going to happen. But right now she seems to have not just regular backstage heat, but she has that nuclear heat. Like, you got to stay away from her. Like, being around her is going to be bad for you. Bad for your career, bad for your, personal life, stuff like that. But there's more to it than that. Because apparently, she didn't just have an altercation with Becky backstage or anything like that. She didn't have an altercation with Becky backstage. It wasn't just her. But apparently Sonya Deville was pissed. And she was pissed off to the point that she wanted to fight Charlotte. Oh, she was in the mood to fight Charlotte. And here's the thing. You got to remember this. It wasn't that long ago where they were teasing on screen that Sonya and Charlotte were in cahoots together. With each other. Like, basically Sonya was going to be Charlotte's ticket to, getting what she wants, doing what she wants and stuff like that. But now, from a behind the scenes standpoint, Sonya Deville, after Friday, basically wanted to hurt her. She wanted to fight her. In a sense, that's how pissed off she was. And a little bit more details as well is that it wasn't, that basically, Becky went to the back, and waited, there until Charlotte and Sasha wrapped up their thing in the ring before, she had that confrontation, that verbal confrontation with Charlotte. And then Charlotte, of course, was asked to leave the premises, and that's when she was escorted by security, WWE officials. So, yeah, again, WWE right now, they're in a pickle. They're in a situation right now to where they don't know what to do. And whether or not you believe anything, about Charlotte wanting to put Bianca over a week ago on Raw, that's up to you. I mean, if the guy she talked to before to clarify the whole pregnancy situation being miscommunicated from earlier this year as to why she missed WrestleMania, is saying that basically, she wanted to put Bianca over, it would assume that maybe it's coming from Charlotte herself. But the question would be then, well, if you're all about you, if you're acting this way that a lot of women are looking at you as, then why would you want to put Bianca over? And apparently there's some reports going around that she's trying to do everything she can to get out of her contract, or at least try, from one person's perspective, it seemed, well, basically what it is from one person's perspective, it seems like she's doing everything she can in her power to try to get WWE to let her out of her contract. And obviously WWE's not going to do that because they're paying her a lot. She's got years remaining. Fox wants her on SmackDown, and obviously they wouldn't be happy if she was let go. And also the real reason apparently is they know that, well, if we and Fox agree to do this and let her go, let her out of her contract, whether she's champion or not, we know exactly where she's heading, and we're not about to let that happen. So yeah, basically there is more to the situation than we knew originally, going to the point that not only does Charlotte have, regular heat, she has the nuclear heat, and that it's even to a point that Sonya Deville behind the scenes wanted to, fight her. She was so pissed off at what she had done in the ring and basically the way she's been acting, as of late, that I guess that situation on SmackDown was like the last straw for her, as well. But yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. Everybody I know is going to keep an eye on this, and we'll see what they do to resolve this situation. If I'm WWE, honestly, here's what I do. I have her drop the title to Sasha on SmackDown, probably this week or next week, and then have her just sit at home. If you don't want her around, just have her sit at home for the rest of her contract. She doesn't come back until it's, she doesn't come back, but she doesn't get to do anything, outside of that until her contract is up. So, you just send her home. Just send her home, until, things cool off, or basically until her contract expires. That's the best solution. Do an angle if you have to where, she, just walked out. Just say she got so mad that she dropped the title to Sasha, that she just walked out of the company. Just say that. Even though she'd still be under contract and at home, it'd be at least a way to get her off from story perspective and legitimately get her off screen and out of the company, temporarily, even though she'd still be part of it. That'd be a solution I look at. But yeah, it's a situation obviously a lot of people are going to keep an eye on, and so will I, and we'll see what happens next. The other thing that came out today as well, though, by WWE is they released a pay-per-view schedule for next year. Now, there are a couple of months that are not listed, and those couple of months are in the TBA area, if you will. They're kind of in the TBA area, like to be announced. Those months are February, August, and October. And, or actually, let's see. Yeah, February, March, August, and October. Now, one can assume that, one of those months is going to get a pay-per-view. They're just trying to figure out, okay, what could we put there in February? And then March, they might just, leave blank because they can use that month to build up to WrestleMania. And that's a train in the background. I do apologize. And that's dogs reacting to the... but anyway, like I said, WWE released a schedule. And like I said, February, August, March, and October are the only ones that are 2BA. Or the TBAs, if you will. But one can assume that the way this is mapped out, that March and August will just be, left open, to build up to the pay-per-view the following month, since that pay-per-view will basically be at the beginning of the month, if you will. So, what is the pay-per-view schedule for WWE, you might ask? Well, it's right here. And the pay-per-view schedule goes like this for 2022. Again, some things could be changed, but this is what they got planned for 2022. New Year's Day, January 1st, from the State Farm Arena, they will have their Day 1 pay-per-view. Then 28 days later, from the Dome at American Center in St. Louis, formerly the TWH Dome or the Edward Jones Dome, they will have the Royal Rumble. And in February, again, it's a TBA, but according to several sources, that might be one of their Saudi Arabia shows, which we could assume be in either Crown Jewel or Super Showdown. So we'll see what happens. And then March, obviously, is left open for building up to WrestleMania, which has been confirmed here. It might change, though, as another two-night event. It will be Saturday, April 2nd and April 3rd. From AT&T Stadium in Dallas, one can assume that the reason WWE is doing that is because even though they could potentially get over 100,000 people each night, that combined-wise, a total combination-wise between the weekend, they can get a total of 200,000 people. That's pretty much what they're hoping for with by doing this. And that's the only thing I can see. What I'm trying to say is that could be the only reason why I see them, going in this direction. Why they would basically, instead of doing one night, seeing as though it's in AT&T Stadium, which they have proven in the past to be able to sell out, why they're doing it 2 nights. It's because basically, each night they can get over 100,000 people, or at least close to it, and then by the end of the night, or by the end of the weekend, they could say they had a grand total of about 2,000, maybe 2,000 plus people in attendance for Mania. It's always about the numbers. It's always about setting records and everything. So that's the only main reason I think they're doing it. And then May 8th is going to be a pay-per-view from the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island. My assumption is it's going to be Backlash. I think they're going to bring Backlash back for that. The June pay-per-view, which will be on June 5th from the Allstate Arena in Chicago. I'm going to probably go with potentially Hell in a Cell. I think they're going to do Hell in a Cell. I know nobody wants to see that, but I think that's what we're getting in June at the Allstate Arena. Then July 2nd at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, they will have Money in the Bank. It'll be the first non-Big Four pay-per-view at a stadium in a stadium venue, besides the likes of Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam and Survivor Series. It'll be the first non-Big Four pay-per-view, with Money in the Bank. But I guess by putting Money in the Bank in there, they're now establishing that it's a Big Five pay-per-view. So I guess Money in the Bank takes the place of King of the Ring. I guess that works. Then July 30th, 28 days later, they will have SummerSlam at the Nissan Stadium in Nashville. That's right, the home of the Titans will be hosting SummerSlam. Now, they got to keep in mind that this is Tennessee we're talking about, and it is, basically, from what I understand, I could be wrong, but from what I understand, that's in kind of hurricane, tornado country around that time of year, so they might have to have a backup plan. They might have to get an arena or something just in case, weather, plays a factor, if you know what I mean. Then, again, August is going to be completely blank unless they do Crown Jewel that month. And then September 3rd or Sunday, Saturday, September 3rd or Sunday, September 4th, Labor Day weekend, they will have a pay-per-view at a location to be determined. Some people have talked about this and have pointed out that this is around the same time AEW would have All Out. So, they're wondering if WWE's trying to pull what they did back in '87, with NWA WCW and try to get the cable providers to make a choice. Hey, it's either us or them. We'll see. And then, like I said, October is completely open, so they might be doing another Saudi Arabia show there. That might be a Crown Jewel. And then Saturday, November 26th, at the TD Garden in Boston will be Survivor Series. And that's about it. And what's interesting is that out of all these pay-per-views, you have 2, potentially 3 Sunday pay-per-views, everything else on Saturday. And what's crazy about this is I think WWE's realizing, hey, we could. Well, actually, hold on. Let me look at that again. You have potentially. Oh no! You have 4 Sunday pay-per-views. One of those Sunday pay-per-views being on the second night of WrestleMania, April 3rd. Then May 8th is a Sunday. June 5th is a Sunday. That's 3 official Sundays, and then 1 potential Sunday in September with September 4th, if that's the date they have to choose. And again, what I was saying or trying to say before going back and looking at that is it looks like as much as we like to kind of crap on WWE for some of the decisions they make, it looks like they're realizing that the less pay-per-views they have sometimes, especially from a worldwide U.S. perspective, that the less pay-per-views they have, the more it builds up anticipation for whatever matches take place on those events. You know, you could build up more storylines, build up characters. You know, you could, put certain matches into question because, even though you have it booked for these two participants or these two teams, it could change. So, there's a lot of positives to look into this. And I think also realizing that Saturdays are a lot more better, especially when you look at the fact that, when it comes to Saturdays, especially in the evening, there's no football games, especially when you're into NFL season or whatever. There's no real football games or baseball games to be worried about. So to me, I think it's a win-win for them. Again, the only 3 Sundays they have basically set up will be, Sunday, April 3rd, Sunday, May 8th, and then I think the Sunday in June, the Sunday in June as official, and perhaps September 4th on September 4th, which was a Sunday as well. And whether or not that cuts into AEW All In, all out, I should say, whether that cuts into it, we'll have to see. But this is a good move on their part, and we just got to hope for the best and see what happens. Now, there is one more piece of wrestling news to get into, and that is, I just found this out thanks to PWU, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. It has been reported that for right now, as far as this upcoming Wednesday, 2 nights from now, and possibly going forward, according to a tweet from Tony Khan, that basically, AEW Dynamite is going to be live all across the board. No more checking your TNT apps or your Xfinity Go apps or whatever to catch it, when it happens live and anything, or because basically it comes on live at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock Eastern Central Time, so you don't have to worry about, like I said, well, at least according to them, you don't have to worry about going to your TNT app or your Xfinity Go app or whatever to catch it when it happens live. Now you can just tune on to TNT and watch it at that time instead. However, again, we don't know how long this is going to be, whether it's just going to be for this night, and then maybe they'll go back to regular time because they'll have to see exactly how people react to this, or if it's just something they're going to test out for a while because, people, might be complaining of, hey, we're hearing about these spoilers, or you're showing highlights of the show before we've even had a chance to see it, so what's the point? So maybe this is something to where, they'll just, Tony Khan's going like, hey, I hear you, so from now on everybody's going to be able to watch it at the same time? I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, I know when TNT did this with Nitro, it worked, because one, nobody really spoiled anything at that time, and mainly it didn't matter where you lived. You could watch it live, anytime you want. You can watch it live when it happened and not have to worry about spoilers or anything like that. Here though, this is going to be a little bit more interesting because I think Pro Wrestling Unlimited said it best. There's a lot of people that are coming home from work at 5 o'clock, especially on the West Coast, and some coming home at around 6 o'clock Mountain Time. So it's going to be interesting to see how this works out. Now, he did mention in the report that, when Pro Wrestling Unlimited talked about this, he did mention that people would probably DVR it, which is a good thing, but the DVR recordings don't count towards live viewership. So this is going to be an interesting experiment. We don't know how long it's going to be for. Whether it's just a one-time deal to see how it works, and then maybe they'll go back afterwards. Perhaps because the numbers are not, showing what they should. Or, maybe it's something they just want to try out for the rest of the year, and maybe once they try it out and people get used to it, that they'll stick with it when they move to TBS. We'll see. But yeah, 5 o'clock here on the West Coast, 6 o'clock Mountain Time. We're all going to be watching live along with those people on the Central and Eastern time zones. But anyway, though, guys, that's a bit of the wrestling news I wanted to let you know about. Oh, one more thing. Apparently, it looks like SmackDown beat AEW this past weekend. Not just with SmackDown on FS1 beating Rampage, in viewership, but it looks like head up, 8 o'clock straight head up, the only time so far that we know of that they're going to go head to head. It looks like SmackDown's replay from FS1 that was broadcast on Fox the following night, because there was no Game 7 for the ALCS. Apparently, that is going to beat AEW Dynamite, Saturday Night Dynamite on TNT. And I can already see people, basically shoving this in the faces of JD, Just Alex, Solo Monster, and all of them by saying, see, even on replay, WWE still wins. So we'll see what happens. They did say that the overall numbers are not completely out yet. So right now, what we're seeing may change, and maybe the numbers will be more in favor of AEW. We'll see. But yeah, this is about all I'm going to say on the wrestling news for today, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Like the video. Check out the Teespring store. Check me out at BW Roses on Vimeo. Check me out at my Patreon at BW Roses. Check me out at BW Roses discussions on all your favorite audio podcast locations, I should say, except for Pandora. As well as check me out on my Venmo to help donate there as well. So until next time, guys, live chat during the premiere, and hopefully you have. And I'll talk to you later.